Hello Year 7. Last lesson you were looking at the migration of people to England. We are going to continue with that, but for the next couple of lessons we're going to look at some themes of migration. Today we're going to be looking at religion and what the role of religion is in migration to England. So the first thing I'd like you to do, please, is to pause the video and have a go at the questions on the do now task. So what does migration mean? What was Danelaw? Who was the Battle of Hastings between? And give 3 ways the Black Death impacted life in Britain. So 2 of these are from really recent lessons and 2 of them are from further back, so you might have to do a bit of thinking. So pause this and then come back and we'll go through the answers. Okay, have a look at the answers on here. If you have got them correct, then give your answer a tick. If you got it wrong or you didn't have it, then pop these down, preferably in a different colour, but if you don't have a different colour, that's fine. So migration is the idea of moving from one area to another. Question number 2, Danelaw was the name given to the parts of England in which the laws of the Vikings were followed. Question number 3, the answer was Harold Godwinson and William Duke of Normandy fought in the Battle of Hastings. Bonus points if you put that the winner was William Duke of Normandy. And then I asked you to give me 3 ways the Black Death impacted life in Britain. So you have lots of different ways there that people were affected. If you've got any of those, give them a tick, and if you don't have them, add them in. Okay, so let's get started. Today we are going to be looking at people who moved to Britain because of their religion or moved away from Britain because of their religion. A really good word to know here is the word diaspora. So a diaspora is a population that once lived together in one place but has been scattered. So in the case of Jewish people that we are going to look at, they all came originally from one place but have then been scattered and continued to multiply as time has gone on. So it doesn't mean that they are from that area now. If they were born in an area, then they're from that area. But once upon a time, that population lived together in one place. So I want you to think if you can think of any examples of a diaspora. Okay, so we're going to look at Jewish people and why they migrated to England. To do that, we need to think about push and pull factors. Now, this might be something that you've heard of in geography. So have a think, perhaps talk to some people in your house and jot down what you think a push factor is and what a pull factor is. Okay, so hopefully you've got some ideas. A push factor is anything that makes someone want to leave an area, okay? So something bad, that is where they are. For example, people in the east of America wanted to move westwards in America because there was not many job opportunities in that area. So they moved westwards because they couldn't find a job. That was a bad thing about where they lived. A pull factor, on the other hand, is something good about the place that you want to go to. So, for example, some people move to the seaside because it has a lovely atmosphere. So that's something good about there that they want to move to. So you are going to look at push and pull factors for Jewish people migrating to England. Attached to your Show My Homework, you have got some information pages, and I would like you to read through that information to complete the sheet that you have. It looks like this, a push and pull one. If you can't print that off, that's fine. You can just draw it as a table or you could draw it out yourself. and you are going to look at push factors and pull factors. So one example that you could have is that Jews were discriminated against in their homeland. That's a bad thing about where they were, so they were pushed out of that area. Okay? So read through the information and then just add in your information to here about the push and pull factors. So pause here and then come back when you've completed that. Okay, so hopefully you've completed your push and pull factor sheet. If you challenged yourself, you might have added some dual coding symbols to show what is happening. Now we're going to have a look at how Jewish people were treated in England once they got here. So what I have for you is an interpretation. Now remember, an interpretation is someone else's idea of what they think happened. So this could be historians, it could be a TV show, it could be a documentary, it could be a film, it could be a picture. In this case, it's a person writing on a website. That website is remember.org. It exists, you could go there and have a look, and it is a website that examines Jewish history, and it's largely written by Jewish historians. So your job is going to be to read through the interpretation and then answer these questions. I'm going to read through the interpretation for you in case there are any bits that you're unsure on, and then I'm going to just explain how to answer the questions. So it says, Jewish life in the Middle Ages was for the most part a story of social and economic isolation. So that means that they were pretty much left out on their own. Persecution, which means that they were treated really badly, and particularly for their beliefs, and massacres. So there was mass killing of Jewish people in the Middle Ages. Do not get this confused with the Holocaust, because that didn't happen in the Middle Ages. This is specifically talking about the Middle Ages here. Jews were isolated both physically and socially from the fabric of life in the Middle Ages and the period following the Middle Ages, yet they filled an important niche. So a niche is something like an important small part of society. Christianity outlawed the lending of money. Jews were permitted to fill this vacuum by acting as moneylenders and financiers. So they were able to give people money or lend people money because their religion doesn't forbid that, whereas Christianity does forbid the lending of money. So the question I want you to answer first of all is, what does the author suggest about the treatment of Jews in the Middle Ages? So what is this author saying about how Jews were treated? And you can use these sentence starters to help you, because you should be answering questions in full sentences. Once you've done that one, I want you to answer the question, explain why you think the author has arrived at this interpretation. So why do you think this person is saying this thing? I want you to use your knowledge from your reading to help answer that. So what specific knowledge can you support that with? If the author is saying that Jews were isolated physically and socially, do you have any knowledge that supports that? It says that they acted as moneylenders. Do you have any knowledge to support that? It says that they were persecuted. How do you know that they were persecuted? What knowledge do you have? So answer those two questions. And then I want you to have a think, does anything surprise you about what you've learnt today? Perhaps thinking about the time period that we're looking at. Perhaps thinking about the fact that this is people in England that are being treated. This isn't somewhere else. This is English people, in England. So this is Jewish people in England. And let me know if anything surprises you. I look forward to your answers. Good luck.